All right, so listen,
And
if
I'll do
you know
shorts.
me, if you know me at all, when I was born, it was a unique situation. I came into this world, the doctor looked me in the eye, he spanked my ass, and out came from the palm of my hands a black, round, circular object known as a hockey puck. Doctor looked at me and said, "What is it?" And I said, "Drop the puck and we'll drop the gloves." And I've been a hockey fan ever since. Now, I'm not wearing these rings because I won them. I'm wearing them because these are Stanley Cup rings. These take a lot of blood, sweat, broken fingers, fights, scrums in front of the net. You literally have to listen to your coach yell at you in between periods for an entire season of 80 games, 2 periods each. That's 160 periods you get yelled at, all the way up to the final game of the year. And if you win that one, you get the cup, Lord Stanley's Cup. And then later on in life, they give you this beautiful jewelry. To my right is somebody that can talk all about it. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Barry,
Yes, Chris.
tell everyone who you are.
Barry Smith,
Coach?
coach. I coached Pittsburgh Penguins, Detroit Red Wings, Chicago.
Hey, Blackhawks. Hey, if you get your shit together, you might get one of these again one day, okay?
Oh.
And by the way, take the blue line. Do not let people enter the offensive zone. So talk a little bit about what it takes to be a winner, to be a champion.
You have to have great players. Absolutely. You can't do anything without players. So it's the players first, and the character of the players, the leadership you have is most important.
Who were some of your best players? Who are the ones that left the biggest mark on you in your career?
Well, probably started out dealing with a superstar for the first time was, when I was in Pittsburgh, of course, with
Lemieux?
yes.
Yeah, Mario. Shout out.
And Mario was amazing because he
Amazing businessman, too.
well, obviously, but he was so regal and he was quiet, but a tremendous leader. But he played with a bad back. He played with Hodgkins and won the scoring. So he played with a lot of adversity and was a true leader of the team.
You know, we talk about championships. We talk about champions. And I'm looking over to my left, and I see Nick Lowry.
Yes.
And he's doing something with champions that is more important than gold, more important than Bitcoin. It deals with helping homeless people. Nick, talk a little bit about what you're doing. And
Well,
by the way, for anyone that doesn't know you, tell them who you are, what you've done.
Well, first of all, thank you, because my main program is called Champions for the Homeless. And one of the hardest things, I'm sure Coach knows, he's watched a lot of players that had amazing careers. The transition to a second career, if you will, that matches the passion you had and the sacrifice as an athlete is very hard to do. And so this program, I played in the NFL for 18 years. I'm proud of one thing more than anything. I was cut and rejected by 8 teams 11 times before I made it. And then I beat out the greatest kicker in the history of the game 6 years before his career.
Right?
No, Jan Stenerud.
Stenerud,
who'd
yeah.
been my idol, by the way, and broke all of his records.
How great of a run did you and Jan have? Like literally
27
back-to-back?
years,
I mean,
yeah.
crazy. Literally, Kansas City had like great kickers for so long.
Yeah, and Jan's a great guy. He bonded with my father. But, you asked about champions. There are, connections between the habits of a champion on the field and off the field. You find something that you have great passion for. You leave no detail forgotten, and you follow through with persistence, not just for one game or one season, but year after year. And so Champions for the Homeless is now in its 17th year. We are featured here at the Lee Steinberg Party. I'm very grateful to Lee because his whole career has been about encouraging athletes to leverage the stage they have. I've got a couple kind of small rings compared to yours. That's a Chiefs Super Bowl ring, and that's my Hall of Fame ring from the Chiefs. But
Congrats, man.
But you know what? In the end, you have this championship inside because you know you're doing things that God intended you to do with the skills that He gave you.
Shout out to God.
And
I like God.
and
Big
to
fan.
me, aligning your life that way
Love God.
helps you find passion after your career, which if you don't have that, a lot of players deteriorate. We talk about CTE out here, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, and the damage
Wow.
that hockey players have to the brain.
I'll
and
be
football
honest with you,
players.
that was impressive. I can't even do it.
Yeah, so
Chronic.
traumatic encephalopathy. But anyway, Champions for the Homeless does one thing that I'm most proud of because we've done it every year for 17 years and we'll never stop, which is humanize the homeless by having the media see these human beings and people as human beings, not as in a social waste bin of one size fits all. They all have individual stories just like you and I do. All of us have had a depressing moment or two. a incredible betrayal or two, and we found a way to overcome that. And Coach talked about character not only on the field, but character off the field to do something with that light. And that's where I think players can find a sense
Shout
of
out
purpose.
to Johnson Jang.
And so we've grown from 20 volunteers at St. Vincent de Paul to 500. We went down to 15 with our band during COVID. And these 1,000 homeless that we serve looked at me with a double and triple take,
Hey.
like, what are you doing here? This is COVID. And we're like, we would never stop. Now this is when we have to. Now we're back up to
Absolutely.
400
Nick, by the way,
volunteers.
you got to
Congratulations, Nick. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, they've closed a lot of the actual houses, like here, even in Arizona, where people could go and stay if they're homeless.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
but one thing that does change, I look at change as sort of like a 100-mile-long battleship that if you turn it 1 degree, you stick with it. That 1 degree is huge. Just like that 1 degree of that player that sees that one extra bit in practice gets them to a new level. You know, I ended up being the most accurate kicker in NFL history. Every detail mattered for me.
right?
And it wasn't that I didn't miss kicks, but I learned from them, so I didn't repeat those things. And that work ethic made a difference. But with the homeless, sticking with it now, the media here in Phoenix, unlike California, to be really blunt, look at these individual people and tell the stories, and they see, you know, that person isn't drug addicted. That person isn't mentally ill. You and I would probably have what I call situational mental illness if we were on the street for 2 months or 6 months. And yes, there are drug issues. Yes, there are mental health issues, but we also have a doubling since COVID, a doubling at least of elderly homelessness and in general homelessness, and it's not going to go away. So you can't just say these people don't exist, because a lot of them, with losing a job and a health issue, became homeless. And imagine that could happen to any one of us. Really.
I think people don't talk about it. I've been homeless. So I've been a multimillionaire 4 times, decamillionaire.
You sound like Muhammad Ali.
Really?
Yeah, well, you win a championship, then you lose, and you come back and win
Yeah.
a championship.
Yeah, exactly. It was like that. In this particular rodeo, I lost $15 million and went $875,000 in debt.
By the way, if you're trying to get a hold of Nick Lowry right now, give him like 5 minutes. He'll
Yeah,
be
just
out.
just give him a minute,
Stop it.
please.
Exactly. Hey, Nick, by the way, before you leave, when I get a chance later, you've got to meet a friend of mine, Dan Fleischman. He does something really special where he puts 140 vital things in a backpack and he goes on the streets with
I would
volunteers.
love that. Our next one's Easter.
very
So
nice.
And he hands them out to homeless people, and it's got
Yes.
socks in there,
Yes.
underwear.
that's what we do.
What they need.
Water.
We
actually.
give away
electrolytes.
1,000 backpacks, 1,000 pairs of socks, 1,000 pairs of socks.
By the way, there's a young guy that was just sitting in that seat. His name's Ben Quigley. He works with companies who get tax credits, and I'm talking big tax credits, like $4 million, where they can tithe 10% of that to their favorite charity.
Who they
I
want,
want you
yeah.
to talk
Thank
to
you.
Ben,
Should link
and I
into
want
that.
you to figure out a way with Ben to get millions of dollars funneled into your program so that you can do more good, because what you're doing, God wants you to do more of. What you're doing, God put me in front of you, and if I don't help you, God will be pissed off at me today.
well,
We don't want to piss off God.
you know what? To finish, we give you clothing, but the most important thing.
By the way, God's let me wear these rings for a long time.
I know, right?
And then, by the way, you have no idea, like seriously no idea. This is the highlight of my entire life, and I've got a birthday coming up in April. This is literally the highlight. Like Nick Lowry and 5 Stanley Cup rings. Like I put the other ones on them, but I'm worried about they won't come off.
Wow.
Well,
That's awesome.
I
I'm
just wanted-
surprised you don't name the
Barry, do you do anything
kicking
with charities?
homeless. You know, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so
I
that
just
it
wanted
has
to
a
say,
pullback.
Can I add one more thing?
At 3.
So, you know, even though we're giving away tens of thousands of dollars of clothing so they have good clothes to wear for job interviews, 1,000 socks, underwear, T-shirts, 5,000 gift certificates to McDonald's just to start a conversation. But the most important thing we say to our volunteers is, if you do nothing else but you look that person in the eye and say, how you doing? How are you?
Acknowledge
What's your
them.
story?
Yeah.
Tell us your story with sincerity, with what you call unconditional love. That's, by the way, us athletes, we come from a narcissistic culture. It's the best thing for us too, because it reminds us, you know, we ain't shit. That's a technical sound.
You can swear it's not that kind
But
of shit.
we are all human beings, and
I think
that's
there's
the big
almost
message.
an inherited fear that people have at their soul of connecting with somebody who's homeless, like almost like
But
a
it's
disease.
just the unknown. It's just the unknown.
Well,
We
that's
have
the thing. I
kids.
know because I've been there.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell anybody that I was homeless. I went to the shower, paid $10
Where
for
did you go to
that.
shower?
At
YMCA?
24 Hour Fitness at the time, it was $10. And then I had a storage unit that was $50. My ex came after me for more child support, so they took my passport. So I had no passport. And, I'm parking behind apartment complexes because they were trying to repo my car, and literally couldn't tell anybody in my world because it's too much reality for people to have. And they won't let you get back into building a life because once you're on the outside, people treat you like an outsider. So I saw that. I saw people disappear from my life, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. And you know who your real friends are.
Yeah.
You know?
Amen.
Right?
Yeah. It's wild.
So Barry, how's this touching you?
Well, it touched me a lot because, first of all, as an coach or whatever situation, to have a passion like you do, Nick, to give back is really positive because you miss the adulation sometimes when you first get out, of
course
people,
you do.
And the freebies that people give to you and all the extra accessories that go with it. And then I think all of a sudden you hit ground zero and then you have to try to find yourself. Like, what am I going to do next? What can I give back? Or what can I take, actually, when it comes to it? So I congratulate you. So I think the passion you have is unbelievable.
Can I give you one
It's
phrase? too?
strange too. Like I had one of my really good friends for like 10 years. I'm sorry, did it? Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to give you one phrase that helps our conversation, which is at St. Vincent de Paul, we have one line that really says it, which is there is no difference between the giver and the receiver. They're equally important. And those of us, all of us, when we give, it's a cliche. I always get back more. Yes, you get back 10 times more.
Yeah.
So by seeing that, it equalizes that ego, that dissonance between the ego and the spirit and the choices we make in life.
Yeah.
And then when you connect on that deep spiritual level, that person knows that they see you.
Mm-hmm.
It's so profound, and they know the difference. And you see suddenly then they have permission just to let all these protective layers disappear.
Hey Nick, I'm going to do something right now. You know the team over at Cash App? Are you familiar with Cash App?
Well, I don't know the team.
No, but you know Cash App, right?
Yes.
One of the biggest things that you need is small denomination Cash App cards.
Yeah.
And Cash App,
Yeah.
I know they're watching right now. If they're not watching right
Hi,
now,
Cash App.
I'm going to ship it to them because I know a couple of the people over there.
That'd be great.
And we're going to ask them to give you a large number of small denomination cards.
Thank you.
And we're going to ask them to reach deeper than they normally would, because those Cash App cards are going to allow an individual that's homeless that you give it to walk into a restaurant or walk into a business and literally feel normal for a split second while they swipe that card and buy some food or underwear or whatever they decide to buy with that. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to lean on the team over at Cash App because Cash App is doing this kind of stuff, and they haven't done it with you yet, right?
No,
And you're certainly not going to turn them down, right?
I don't think so.
And you're going to give
Sounds
them a
good to
lot
me.
of love and appreciation on social media, and you're going to showcase
Gratitude. There's the other side of it. Is what is gratitude? I mean, you can say my career's over. Nobody remembers me. But
I remember.
when we shift
I actually
to
remember.
gratitude, it changes the chemistry in our brain. We talked about the brain, and if there are things that can tilt that betting, blackjack table in our favor, betting
Shout
on
out to all my
ourselves.
friends at the blackjack table.
Betting on ourselves, right? By shifting to that place of gratitude. And you see the people that forget that. We may have had our moments too where we remember the guy that screwed us over or whatever it was, and we get out
Shout
of that.
out to all the
So
guys that screwed
those
me over.
actions, to me, once again, these are my choices. All of you are unique, and every person that's homeless is unique. And when they have permission to still be unique rather than that category, everything changes.
So, Barry, the NHL does all kinds of stuff. They do the Purple Night for, who's the Purple Nights for? I can't remember. Where they wear the purple jerseys. They do a night to fight cancer. Is that for cancer? I think it's for cancer.
Yes.
They do stuff for the LGBTQ community. How about we do a night? How about we knock on the door of the NHL and say, hey, how about we do a night to help the homeless? It's not sexy. It's not sexy like fighting cancer, but it's good because we're helping people. How about you and I reach out to the team over at the NHL and say, let's do a night to help fight homeless and help the guys that Nick is working with?
I think it'd be a fantastic situation.
You wanna do
I think the players would definitely step up to that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So you and I will go to New
Yeah.
York. We'll talk to the team
Bettman.
over at
Talk
the,
to Bettman.
Okay, Gary, we're coming. We're coming, Barry and I. I'll be wearing these. We're coming. We're going to ask for you to do a night to help the homeless. You wouldn't mind that, right? The NHL?
You know what?
I mean, not a bad idea,
in
right?
1989, I hosted an event with the secretary, the new drug czar, with Gary Bettman and the commissioners of the major sports.
When was this?
1989. I was working in the off season.
Gary's been commissioner that long?
30
Yeah.
years.
He was there, and it was just to ask them what they can do to help use players to reduce the drug issue, which is becoming crack cocaine, which is becoming a
Yeah,
huge
I
thing.
remember that.
And
That
he's
was
still
huge.
commissioner now.
Wow.
He was there.
Wow.
So, would you mind if the NHL did a night to help raise awareness
That
and
would
money
be
for
awesome.
the
The
homeless?
thing is, also, I know that people that get connected to this, there may be initial reticence because if they don't know, and then they suddenly feel a part of them that's being filled, that is aching to be filled. You know, and once again, it's where they are in their lives, not where I am.
All right,
But
Nick,
when
where
I-
can people find you?
NickLowry.org, NickLowery.org, or Champions for the Homeless. And God bless you. Thank you for giving us a chance, man.
I love what
that's
you're
the
doing,
thing is when we do things that we know we'll do for the rest of our lives. Like I wear this. Can I just finish with this thing?
Let's see.
Okay. So I started Native Vision with the NFL Players Association to help Native American kids, by the way, high levels of depression, suicide, drug abuse, etc. This is the 20th anniversary of that. It grew into 7 sports, and I had a guy come up to me and go, "Hey, can I have an autograph? I'm in Shiprock, New Mexico," and he goes, "I'm a Chiefs fan." I said, "Cool." So I signed him something. He finds the number for my foundation. He calls back, and he's Navajo. His name is Danny Clark.
Shout out to Danny Clark.
Danny, I love you. I didn't know that he was legally blind, and he makes this for me. And I tell people, especially kids, I tell people, what could you do in your life? This is the 20th anniversary. We stuck with Native Vision for 20 years, and you go from the intention to do good in your life to knowing those kids that were 16 in 1996. They're now, 42. They've got 4 kids, but they never thought before then that pro athletes, hockey players, NBA players, Olympic champions, World Cup champions, NFL players would come out, not paid a dime, just to let Native kids know that they see them, they embrace
matter.
them, that they matter.
They matter.
And
Buddy of
that,
mine does something
this
called-
to me symbolizes that. What can each of us find in our lives that we'll do for 20 years? Because I'll tell you, if you won't think you made a difference, you'll know because you'll see it. It'll grow right in front of you.
Where are you out of? Do you live here in Phoenix?
I live 3 minutes from here in
Oh, that's
Gainey Ranch.
convenient.
Yeah,
That's
it's
super
a nice,
convenient.
wonderful serendipity.
Yeah, that's very cool.
We got to do something. We got to do something. Are you doing anything in Vegas?
No, I'd love to. There's a homeless problem there, not to mention
huge.
gamblers
Huge.
that found themselves, that had everything and then lost everything in a minute.
There's an entire community, people that are living underneath Vegas,
Thank
and they're
you.
called the Mole People. You should actually read about it.
It's
It's a
unbelievable.
homeless community. I want to say it's like 15,000 big, might even be larger, and they're literally living underneath Vegas because it's so
In the
hot.
tunnels.
And they get water and they get all kinds of other things, but they get shelter there also.
And the health problems that are there too is people don't treat skin issues and all kinds of stuff, and next thing you know they're just rotting. It's really a sad scene.
Hey, Barry.
But I would love to connect with you further because I
Thank you.
support what you're doing. I actually have a lot of real insight into what you're doing and the difference can relate to both sides.
If you guys can come on Easter Sunday, we do it deliberately on Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, and twice in the summer, the hottest part of the year. And then we work with St. Vincent de Paul, which has had no major turnover with their staff, which, by the way, homeless programs, they have turnover every day. And these guys are so committed, and they're the ones that use that phrase, there's no difference between the giver and the receiver.
Hey, Barry, in your life as a coach, have you seen players later on after their career is over at literally almost rock bottom?
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, the experience that I tried to explain to you is sometimes you come off playing for an organization or a team, and you have a lot of people who support you because obviously you're on screen, you're on TV, or they come and watch you live. And then all of a sudden you can't find yourself because no longer do you feel you have self-esteem because you're no longer playing. And that situation arises because you don't have a passion or a fulfillment that you can take care of besides what you did on the field or the ice. So those are tough times. And then financially, there's no money coming in, and perhaps you didn't do well financially to put yourself up for the future, and now you're at rock bottom, and you're afraid to ask anybody because you have pride.
Yep.
Everybody has pride.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
Barry,
think of Mike Webster when you were with Pittsburgh. I was saying down there.
The center, right?
Yeah, he
Who's the
played
center?
his last 2 seasons with me, and a year after he finished, my friend who sold my house in Kansas City, I had to find out directly from her and her husband. He walks into her office because she hadn't sold Mike Webster's house a year after he'd retired, and she was 4'11", 98 pounds. He grabbed her with one arm, lifted her up, and said, "If you don't sell my house, very soon I'm going to kill you." Calmly put her down and walked out. That was not Mike Webster. That was somebody else that had gone into him. And you may know, but Bill Cowher, my former defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, and Marty Schottenheimer found Mike in a truck, and they had to buy his own Hall of Fame jacket so that he could be there to get his Hall of Fame ring. So it's real. It's real.
Hey,
Yeah.
Nick, Barry,
Oh.
you guys should exchange
My
numbers.
information.
You guys should stay connected.
Yeah, we will. First time I met Nick, so for sure I'll follow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you live?
I live in Glendale.
Oh, you live here? Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
I'd love to introduce you and have you come on Easter. We have usually about 15 NFL players come, and we have amazing music, and it is.
I'll
a
come back
beautiful
then
thing.
and I'll bring Barry's
No,
rings back.
I'll definitely step
You know,
up.
we did like a Great Gatsby type party at my house, and raised a lot of money for Goodwill. And we had people that came from Goodwill and talked about the jobs they got,
Sure.
and how they were homeless and how they trained them and everything. And it was moving. It was super emotional to see the transformational stories. I think that's when you see that and you've been part of an organization, you see somebody's life change. There's nothing like it. Like when you improve the
Talk
quality.
about a prescription. You know, all these prescriptions that cause other
Yeah.
issues. That prescription, when you see and you know
Yeah.
that change has happened for that person, that it's a permanent change,
Yeah.
and then you'll do everything to keep it permanent. That's a real prescription.
That's real brotherhood.
But Nick, I'll
right?
get your number after you leave
Yeah.
because I don't want
I
to
got it.
text
Thank
me.
you.
Yep.
Text me. So.
Barry,
Yep.
thank you so much, man.
Oh, you're welcome. Welcome.
I am. I couldn't tell you how glad I am to have you here today. Thank you, brother.
Well, I got to tell you, just one quick thing here, though,
Sure.
because we talk about
10
you
quick
know,
things.
Yeah.
athletics, whatever. So, being a coach, you're always trying to find an edge, for your players because each player is worth his weight in gold, especially when you play collectively. So, I came here and it's too bad Josh didn't stay with you, Josh Daniels, but he has a nice product that I had to utilize myself to make sure I could back it in that we're trying to keep our athletes on the field or on the ice as much as possible and have longevity in your career because it gets over fast. And his product is fantastic, Frequency Rocket. So I recommend it because I've tried it.
What does it do?
It helps for any type of inflammation, which of course in athletics is huge, all right? Secondly, it gives your mind some clarity and you even sleep better, and sleep's a big problem for our athletics.
I bet you 90% of my friends, and we'll have 20 of my brothers from the former Cardinals and other players that are going to be here today, and I bet you 90% of them, 18 out of 20 that are coming, have serious sleep issues.
Yeah.
Marijuana. I sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but for whatever reason, especially during performance times, when you're playing a lot and traveling, your sleep patterns are fantastic. I worked with Scotty Bowman for a lot of years, the best coach probably in any
Shout
sport.
out to Scotty Bowman.
Yep, and Scotty was big on making sure we didn't start any practice too soon in the morning because we wanted to make sure the players had sleep.
Yes.
He was a big component of that, knowing
Beautiful.
that you had to refresh not just mentally or physically, but mentally as well. It's a huge part
Good
of
stuff.
it. So
That's a smart coach.
I'm always trying to find an edge, and I just wanted to make sure that it's too bad Josh wasn't here because that's the reason why I'm here, though,
Tell
too.
him, tell him
I
to
do.
come back later. We'll be here.
I do
for
Ironmans. I do Ironman. So I'm like, how would that help me? Like, you know what an Ironman is,
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
2.4 mile swim,
Yeah.
112-mile bike ride,
Yep.
26-mile run,
By the way,
and I'm old.
Which is ridiculous.
By the way, let's be honest.
Just
Let's be honest.
ridiculous.
That's pretty impressive, isn't
That's
it?
I think so.
ridiculously
it's-
amazing.
I mean,
very
you kick the
impressive.
ball through the uprights, but let's
Yeah.
be honest.
Buddy, it's crazy. And the kind of mental toughness because you
I
are
cry
working
going
through
across the
pain
finish
for
line.
hours at a time.
16 hours.
So I'm in Hawaii playing golf,
Mhm.
right on the Sheraton
Were you
Waikoloa
playing
golf
well?
course. No, I was terrible. But I'm
You
seeing the
drink and
guys. So
drive?
they swum them 2.5
Great
miles.
field goal kicker.
Right?
Horrible
now
golfer.
they're going out on the, I wasn't that bad. Going out on the 112-mile ride, right? So we play golf the whole time. Now we go home, shower, change. Now we're driving into town, and they're running the marathons. And that was the year that the person that was winning, the woman that was winning, collapsed 100 yards from the finish line, defecated on herself. You know, she just lost all control and tried to
I've done
crawl
that.
home, right? I mean, the commitment you have to make to be an Ironman.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm not going there. I'm just saying.
I've thrown up on almost every leg at some point, and it's intense. I've even ripped open my left testicle.
No, you don't mind pain, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was bleeding down the side of my leg, and I threw ice, and I had 3 miles left, and I was like, I'm not quitting. But yeah, it's emotional when you go across it's a weird kind of crying.
It's an initiation
euphoria.
into your
It's-
best self.
Yeah.
All right, so
And-
I got to ask you both before you leave.
Mhm.
Okay.
Chiefs or Eagles?
20. Okay.
Final score.
31-24, tied at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and then a guy named Patrick Mahomes
To Travis Kelce.
is just very possibly Kadarius Toney too, who's just that X factor, and he's healthy for the game.
Running back, right?
No, he's a receiver,
A receiver.
and he's
Quick as hell.
But with all due respect to Jalen Hurts, great team, everybody out there, great offensive line, defensive line, and great team. They care about each other on Philadelphia. It's not about them being bad; they're really good. But there's only one Patrick Mahomes.
I think my plane in would have crash landed if they heard you said that because it was
Yeah,
all
for
Eagle
sure.
fans. Like we were literally green wall.
Yeah.
to
I'm
wall.
just saying
literally.
because I know you'll love the response to this. Eagles fans, prepare for some therapy Sunday night. You'll need it.
All right, Barry. Eagles, Chiefs. Final score.
I'm a Bills fan. I'm staying out of it.
There you go.
Hey, what happened to the Bills? They're so strong.
They just ran out of some players towards the end, which
Yeah.
you have to have, and just some bad luck. I mean, they were right there, but
You
You
got a
gotta
great
be
quarterback.
healthy.
yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
And they
So-
lost some key, key pass.
You got a
rushers.
great quarterback. Kid's
Tremendous,
Kid's
yeah.
good. Good.
But back when they went to the Super Bowl, I would change houses every place I went to watch the games based upon, that mojo that we couldn't quite find. So
Marv Levy
Wow.
was the coach that
Yes,
cut
he
Jan
was.
Stener to keep me.
is that
One
right?
of my dearest friends. What a class act.
Yes, he was.
What a class act.
Yeah, I met him.
Levy or Stenerud? I think both, right?
They're both class acts.
Yeah.
Marv Levy, what an extraordinary.
Marv is in
he's
Chicago.
Like 96.
How about when he came back and spoke before the one game?
Mm.
Where would you rather be? Right
Yeah,
now.
and then,
right?
and then the whole audience, the whole
Yeah.
stands goes, and he's like, you know this? Yeah, Marv, we know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great coach. I mean, I was so lucky. He took some balls to cut Jan Stener, who played 6 more years, to keep me. But my first game, I had a 57-yarder club record and 2 50-yarders NFL record.
What was
First
your
time ever
longest
2
one?
50-yarders in the
Ever.
game. I still have the record for the longest field goal in the history of the NFL in the first quarter, 58 yards in RFK Stadium. I had 2 from 58.
Wasn't there a 60-yarder by somebody?
They're 60. Well, now Justin Tucker has a 66-yarder.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Tucker.
Wow.
But you see, the fields are like that now.
Hey,
When we played, they weren't quite so
Do
pretty.
you agree with the philosophy that Justin Tucker's leg should be listed as a weapon of mass destruction?
I believe that when he sings Nessun Dorma by Luciano Pavarotti in his own way while he's kicking a 60-yard field goal, I will make it my mission to kill him. He's that good.
All right, last
Wow.
question.
I wanted to ask him about the frequency. I brought up the Ironman, not to say I do Ironmans,
Oh, thank you.
but because of
What is that?
can you talk to me about this? Obviously,
No, but they've been digitalized with vitamins.
so there's
They're,
vitamins in
they're
here.
infused, yes.
Yeah, because I think it's the first 4 hours of the Ironman, you burn out all your glycogen. The first 4 hours, it's gone, and you start eating your body
Correct.
for the rest of the race. So I'll take, like, for example, ibuprofen every, I think, 4 hours or 2 hours just for the pain. Because we were on the bike for 8 hours this last one with 25-mile-an-hour winds and then 35-mile-an-hour gusts through Sacramento, right? And I eat like the entire race. Would this be something that I could assist during the race?
Yes, it would assist.
Because I'm always looking for any kind of,
actually,
because
what
nobody will help you.
What you're trying to do is before and after.
Before the
because-
race,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's before and after because you know that yourself.
So it's prep.
yeah. Because during the race itself, there's only so much you can do besides intake.
I feel
yeah,
so
you
honored. I
wanna
want to
observe.
thank you guys. I got to get
Yeah,
down to my
Nick.
booth, but God bless you. Thank you, and seriously, all
Hey,
of
Nick.
you, whenever we can do things together, just let me
Yeah.
know.
Nick, grab
Are you
my-
based in Vegas?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nick, grab my mobile number from.
Okay. And you know where this party will be next year and where the Super Bowl will be next year.
Yeah, Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
We won't even have to leave.
Hey, Nick, since you brought that up, let's plan something. We got
Let's
a
do
year
that.
out.
With a year, man, we
yeah,
could do
We got a
something
year.
special.
Let's plan
Man,
something really special.
How
And
about a
let's-
fundraising
Let's bring
party
in
at
my
my
friends
house?
from Cash App.
How about
Okay.
Let's bring in my friend Dan
do it.
Fleischman. Let's bring in a bunch of people.
Oh, yes, sir.
And,
I don't wanna-
and
I don't
let's
wanna-
auction off these rings. No, just kidding. Hey, Barry,
Yes,
we got to do this again.
I know we didn't have a chance to talk hockey, but
Well,
it's okay.
I mean, we're just
His
going
was
to
more
talk hockey.
important.
Well, I'll be honest with you.
His position was more important.
Listen, what he's doing, and by the way, Nick, seriously, no joke, what you're doing
Yep.
is beyond special.
Thank you.
It is God's work. And if we've got $110 billion to send to World War III, we need to find money to change the lives of people that are living on the streets of America. This country is too great to let its citizens be on the streets in America.
85% of today.
I'm gonna get to the. Let's do an amazing Gatsby party at my house and do a fundraiser for you.
I mean,
And we'll podcast. I got a 12,000 square foot home, right?
Let's do it.
It's a resort pool.
Nick, do you see this?
I got a kitchen inside the pool.
You got my number?
Waterfall, water slides.
I'll be in
We
Vegas.
raised a lot of money for Goodwill.
My buddy Andy Vargas is the lead singer for Santana right there in Vegas.
I'm in Dragon Ridge.
And he just sang here on Wednesday at an NFL tournament.
Hey, by the
So
way, what is that around your neck? Is that a
Yeah, that's a
I
shoe.
designed this. So anybody that's watching this, it's very popular. Randy Mahomes, Patrick's very attractive, wonderful mother, and Clark Hunt, the owner of the Chiefs. They have these. It's $300 for a donation to Champions for the Homeless, and you'll get one if you go to nicklowry.org.
What is that?
I
Wow,
could
that's
charge
awesome.
literally $1,000 for these, and I get it. But
is it an Indian head or what is that?
it's a sneaker with number 8 on it, and it's just bling bling, baby.
oh,
and it's Chiefs,
that's
Chiefs
what it
logo.
is. That's what it is.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
We could probably make it with the Pittsburgh Penguins or whatever logo.
That's funny.
Chicago.
Yeah,
Blackhawks,
yeah,
Blackhawks. Hey, Nick,
Blackhawks.
Okay,
God bless you.
thank you.
Don't
you.
stop. Let me help
won't.
you. Let the team from Cash App help you. Let Dan Fleischman help you. Let the world help you because what you're doing helps the world.